Hello, I hope you all had a nice half term and hopefully a little bit of a break from seeing us lot on Teams or wherever. But it's very nice to have you back. I can't believe how quick half term's gone. It's gone really fast. Did you have any pancakes? Yeah? I have to admit, I'm not really a lover of pancakes. I prefer savoury ones to sweet ones if I have to have them. But I forgot all about Pancake Day this year. If we'd been in school, I probably would have remembered it. But hopefully you managed to have some pancakes. But the big news this week, well, the big news has been the landing on Mars, hasn't it? Hope Annie Milburn was watching. She wants to be an astronaut, you know, children. She's always wanted to be an astronaut. And so it's really good to hear about that space mission and what they're trying to do on Mars. Mars is otherwise known as the Red Planet, as some of you probably know. And what they're trying to find out is, was there life on Mars? Those of you parents listening might know that as a David Bowie song. I know Mr. Vinsome really likes David Bowie. But yeah, they're trying to find out about ancient life on Mars, and they're collecting rock and soil samples there. So it'll be interesting to hear what they managed to find out. And I've got an actual question about Mars at the end of this assembly for a quiz for you. But my assembly part this morning will be quite quick because actually we've got a guest today. And our guest is Mr. Hogan. Now, I don't think you've ever met Mr. Hogan. Some of you might have met Mrs. Hogan because Mrs. Hogan was a governor here. And she used to look after our marketing along with Mrs. Harling, Matilda's mum. Now, Mrs. Hogan is busy doing, she's busy at university, she's doing another degree. But Mr. Hogan, who was a headmaster, just like me, said he would very kindly like to join our governing board. And what's more, I found out he's really good at telling stories. So I'm going to hand over to him this morning as our first special guest speaker. And it's a story some of you might know because I know you know the stories of Dr. Seuss and the Cat in the Hat and those stories. And some of you might know about characters called the Sneetchers. He's got a brilliant story about the Sneetchers this morning. So the assembly's in two parts. I'm going to stop speaking just now because I'm going to see you all again on Friday. And we need to get ready for block 3 teaching, block 3. And then I've got fingers crossed to find out what Boris Johnson's going to say this evening. And hopefully he's got good news for schools. I feel like there's lots of good news coming up now. Look at this, it's a brighter day today. It's daylight. Normally I'm doing these assemblies in darkness, aren't I? So we'll see what Mr. Johnson's got to say. And we'll also see what Mr. Hogan's got to say about the Sneetchers and the Dr. Seuss story. There's a good moral at the end of it. But like I said, I'm going to keep this short. And so I'm going to end my bit of assembly now with a bit of a quiz question. So after you've listened to Mr. Hogan, think about the Mars mission at the moment. And the mission has gone with the spacecraft called Perseverance. But Mars is part of our solar system, but the length of the days and the lengths of years are different. So my question for you this morning, children, is how many days make up a Mars year? There's a question. So I suppose the first thing you need to think about is how many days are there in an Earth year, and then how many days are in a Mars year, and then if you're getting up the school, what's the difference? What would be the difference from a Mars year to an Earth year? I'm going to leave that question with you. We'll see who gets back to me. And I'm going to hand over to Mr. Hogan. All right, so enjoy this week. I'll be speaking to you again on Friday. Lots of things to talk about, I'm sure, and I'll be sharing lots of your things again. And I'll see you very soon. See you later, children. Bye.
Hello there. I'd like to read you a story today. Well, it's a story that rhymes, so maybe it's a poem. But it's written by a man called Dr. Seuss, who's very famous for writing all sorts of stories and poems for children. Perhaps two of his most famous are the one about the Grinch who stole Christmas, and of course the cat in the hat. But today I'd like to read you another one of his stories, and this is a story set on a beach. And it's about some unusual characters, and I've brought a couple of them along with me today, and they are called Sneetches. And as you can see from these two here, they're very similar, but just a little bit different. So I'll put them down here, and they can stay with me when I read the story. Now, the star-bellied Sneetches had bellies with stars. The plain belly Sneetches had none upon theirs. Those stars weren't so big. They were really so small you might think that such wouldn't matter at all. But because they had stars on, that star-bellied Sneetches would brag, we're the best kind of Sneetch on the beaches. With their snoots in the air they would sniff and they'd snort. We'll have nothing to do with the plain belly sort. And whenever they met some, when they were out walking, they'd hike right on past them, without even talking. When the star-bellied children went out to play ball, could a plain belly get in the game? Not at all. You only could play if your bellies had stars, and the plain-bellied children had none upon theirs. When the star-bellied Sneetches had frankfurter roasts, or picnics or parties, or marshmallow toasts, they never invited the plain-bellied Sneetches. They left them out cold, in the dark, on the beaches. They kept them away, never let them come near, and that's how they treated them, year after year. And one day, while the plain-bellied Sneetches were moping and doping, alone on the beaches, just sitting there wishing their bellies had stars, a stranger zipped up in the strangest of cars. My friends, he announced in a voice clear and keen, my name is Sylvester McMonkey McBean, and I've heard of your troubles, I've heard you're unhappy, but I can fix that. I'm the fix-it-up chappie. I've come here to help you, I have what you need, all my prices are low, and I work at great speed, and my work is 100% guaranteed. Then quickly Sylvester McMonkey McBean put together a very peculiar machine and said, you want stars like the star-bellied Sneetch? My friends, you can have them for $3 each. Just pay me your money and hop right aboard. And they clambered inside. Then the big machine roared, and it clonked, and it bonked, and it jerked, and it burked, and it bopped them about. But the thing really worked. When the plain-bellied Sneetches popped out, they had stars. They actually did. They had stars upon theirs, and they yelled at the ones who had stars at the start. We're exactly like you. You can't tell us apart. We're just the same now, you snooty old smarties, and now we can go to your frankfurter parties. Good grief, groaned the ones who had stars at the first. We're still the best Sneetches, they are the worst. But now how in the world will we know, they all frowned. Which kind is what? Or the other way round? Then came McBean with a very sly wink, and he said, things are not quite as bad as you think, so you don't know who's who. That's perfectly true. But come with me, friends. Do you know what I'll do? I'll make you again the best Sneetches on beaches, and all it will cost you is $10 eaches. Bellies with stars are no longer in style, said McBean. What you need is a trip through the star-off machine. This wondrous contraption will take off your stars, so you won't look like Sneetches who have them on theirs. And that handy machine, working very precisely, removed all the stars from their tummies quite nicely. But then, with snoots in the air, they paraded about, and they opened their beaks and they let out a shout. We know who is who. Now there isn't a doubt. The best kind of Sneetch is a Sneetch without. Then, of course, those with stars got frightfully mad to be wearing a star, and that was frightfully bad. Then, of course, old Sylvester McMonkey McMean invited them into his star-off machine. Then, of course, from then on, as you probably guess, things got into a horrible mess. All the rest of that day, on those wild screaming beaches, the fix-it-up chappie kept fixing up Sneetches. Off again, on again, in again, out again. Through the machine they raced round and about again, changing their stars every minute or two. They kept paying money, they kept running through until neither the plane or the star-belly knew whether this one was that one, or that one was this one, or which one was what one, or what one was who. Then when every last cent of their money was spent, the fix-it-up chappie packed up and he went. And he laughed as he drove in his car up the beach. They will never learn. No, you can't teach a Sneetch. But McBean was quite wrong, I'm happy to say. that the Sneetches got really quite smart on that day. The day they decided that Sneetches are Sneetches, and no kind of Sneetch is the best on the beaches. The day all the Sneetches forgot about stars and whether they had one or not upon bars. It's one of my favourite stories about the Sneetches because it's about difference. And the truth is, we're all different. We might be different on the outside. We might be from different countries. We might be of different skin colour, might have different hair colour. We might talk with different accents. We might be from different places. There are all sorts of things that can make us different. And I think the message is here is that if we focus on what makes us different, then we're probably going to be unhappy. And if we're not unhappy, we're probably going to be making somebody else unhappy. So what's the point in always concentrating on what makes us different? What the Sneetches learned, and what we can all learn, is that if we concentrate on what makes us the same, if we concentrate on the things we enjoy, if we concentrate on the things that make us happy, and we can work together, and we can cooperate, and we can enjoy each other's company, and we can be friendly, and whether there's Sneetches on the beaches, or whether we're working together in school, or working together at home, or working with our families or our friends, then it seems like the best way for us all to move forward.